Athletics is the front porch to the university,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want an old raggedy chair on your front porch.
That's right.
You know, you want your furniture on the front porch to be the nicest. So as we get ready to end and go out and prepare for our second quarter after we ended the first quarter, today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. Use the link in the description box to place your order now. We'll be right back.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.DOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Advertise on WeBelieve.Global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.Global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Welcome back to the second quarter as we visit with the new Jackson State men's basketball coach, Coach Mo Williams. I want to kind of continue the conversation about your transition over to Alabama from leaving Jackson. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about your time at Alabama as well. So, who was your head coach when you played at Alabama?
Mark Godfrey.
Mark Godfrey. Can you believe I played against Mark Godfrey?
Did you?
I played Mark Godfrey, Jim Farmer.
Yeah, 87. You there 87, 88, 89. You somewhere around there.
No, 82, 86. I came
So you caught him at the beginning?
Caught him at the beginning, yeah.
Because he was 84 to 88.
88, and Farmer was 82 to 86. Tell me a little bit about your time there with Godfrey and how that Alabama experience was for you.
I mean, it was great. You know, he recruited me hard, and I actually I committed to him my junior year in high school. So that's how much I felt comfortable with his recruiting process, on how he recruited me, things he told me, things that he said he was going to do for me as far as position he was going to put me in on the court, how I was going to play, how much I was going to play. Those things was told to me, and everything sounded good. Obviously, you never know until you get there. But the day I stepped on campus, and one thing, and I use this as I recruit, I never tell a player they're going to start. I don't care how good you are. He never told me I was going to start. He'd tell me, hey, I ain't going to tell you you're going to start. You know, you got to come and earn it. The first day of practice, I was starting. But the experience was great.
Yeah.
He let me play. I love the system that we played in. I run a similar system. That's how much I love it. I had a lot of success in it. And he's a coach's coach, right? He's a coach's coach. I mean, I'm talking about he knows how to get the best out of his players. And he kind of let his players, you know, obviously be mature young men. You know, he don't hold your hand. You know, if you're making mistakes and you don't want to do things the right way, to some degree, he'll go find someone else that wants the opportunity. He's big on, you know, this is a privilege, and I use that too. Having a scholarship at a Division I level, it's a privilege, guys, because you're sitting here. If you want to take it for granted, I can show you my email, you know, from guys that's in my email, that's emailing every single day, Coach, hey, I just need an opportunity. I can do anything you want me to do on the basketball court, whatever you need. I just need an opportunity. Those guys can't play dead half the time. But guess what? They'll relish and kill themselves to be in your opportunity, and you sitting here taking it for granted like we owe you a favor, you know, and that's what his approach was. And he recruited guys like myself that was self-efficient. You didn't have to tell me to go get in the gym. You know, you didn't have to tell me to go work out outside of the practice hours, right? You couldn't tell me to go to class. You couldn't tell me to not, you know, to stay out the club. You didn't have to tell me those things. I was already focused and knew where it was, and he had enough leaders like myself that can police, you know, the rest of the team. And getting back to, you know, how close I was with my high school team, I was just as close with my college friends, you know, and my college teammates, and it's a reason we won. You know, my freshman year, we won the SEC. I was SEC freshman year, National AP freshman of the year. We won the SEC. The last time they've done it was 2 years ago, and before that, it was us. You know, 2001, we won it, and they just won it again in 2019, 20. And, you know, that lets you know how important it is to lay everything on the line and receive those type of championship type endeavors, right? And we was a part of teams that did that, you know, and we obviously my sophomore year, we was number 1 in the country. The only time University of Alabama has ever been ranked number 1 in the country. So my experience, and I was only there 2 years, so my experience with Mark Godfrey was tremendous, and we always kept in touch. He always called me from time to time. We always stayed in touch, which led to my first coaching job. I was assistant coach for him before I got the Alabama State head coaching job for 2 years with him in Northridge. So he came back full circle, and getting that opportunity obviously prepared me for the opportunity that I have now. It taught me a lot about what it takes to be a college coach, understanding, you know, all the logistics, you know, all the administrative needs, you know, and things like that. He just brought me along, you know, meetings that I didn't supposed to be in, just the head coach should be in. He brought me with him, you know, just for me to sit there and hear what's going on, you know, how he handling the AD, how he talking to the president, how he's mingling with the foundation, right? How he's understanding how to raise money in certain ways and get people involved and get fan support, obviously getting student support, you know, all those little things, and understanding academically what works, right? Study hours, what hours, how we gonna do it, what we doing on the road, how we doing this, how we feeding them, how we doing that, how we working out, how we practicing. So the things he done for me, outside of recruiting me, you know, as a sophomore or freshman in high school, I mean, he's touched my life in different areas, you know, where I can look back, you know, when I'm 60, 70 years old and know that he's been a blessing to me just for the opportunities he's given me in my life as an 18-year-old, then coming back as a 35-year-old young adult that's trying to find his way, you know, and what he want to do. And I wanted to get into coaching. And he gave me another avenue to get to another dream that I wanted to accomplish.
You know, things is amazing. It used to be where people talked about the most influential person in their life was their coach. You hadn't heard that much, but it's great to hear you talk about that, because I think that's what our coaches and administrators need to realize. We bring in, particularly at the college level, we're bringing in babies and turn them into men and women. And it sounds like you had a great experience in Alabama, but having that experience, how did that prepare you for the pros?
Well, it nothing prepares you for the pros. Let me make that clear. I'm going to say that again. Nothing prepares you for the pros, right? But the situation you're in, as far as the caliber of basketball I was playing, the way I was being played, and the opportunities I was given, that prepared me for the pros, because I had pressure on me. I had to perform. I was through in the fire as a freshman on a really good basketball team, and I had to be consistent every night. So in the pros, you have to be consistent, you know, every night, right? Like I said, our coach don't hold our hand. So if you want to go out and do all the bad things and not be focused on what's important, one of my favorite quotes is, the most important thing always has to be the most important thing, right? So if it ain't the important thing, then you probably won't be a pro. And it ain't nothing he gonna do to help you get a pro. You gotta want to be a pro. He's gonna put you in position to get everything you need to do get accomplished. So I think by him indirectly coaching style or how he treats his players, that prepared me, probably to answer your question, that probably prepared me to be a pro. Because when you're a pro, now you got to go work out on your own, right? You got to do things. You got to take care of your body. You got to eat good. It ain't nobody telling you what to do or setting it up for you. So those things I was able to do because I was drafted at 20, you know, and I went to Utah. And Yes, I went and traveled and played here and played there, but I've never been that far from home by myself. 20 years old, nobody moved me. No, my mom didn't move me. I didn't have 17 homeboys that moved with me. No, I didn't have that my rookie year. You know, first of all, I didn't have enough money to take care of that many people. You know, I'm still trying to find my way. I'm up in Utah by myself, right? And I had to figure out, you know, obviously how I'm going to live up to my dream. And I took the bull by the horns and did everything I was supposed to do. I stayed in the gym. I stayed out of trouble. You know, wasn't a big drinker, didn't do no smoke. Like, it was just a mindset. And I tell people all the time, a championship mindset is what I have, right? A championship mindset is what my team will have. And a championship mindset is not just about winning championship. And I'm going to rephrase it. It ain't about winning championship, but it is, right? And the only way you win a championship, and you got to have a championship mindset. And if you have a championship mindset, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to class. I don't have to worry about that. You got a championship mindset. You want to be a champ in everything you do. I don't have to worry about you going to study hall because you got a championship mindset. You know what's important, right? I don't have to worry about when the ball on the floor and it's you and me. That's my ball. I'm getting that ball. That's a championship mindset, right? Somebody driving in the lane and I got to step over and take a charge. I'm going to take that charge because I have a championship mindset because I want to be the best at what I want to do, right? And if you have a championship mindset, not only do that prepare you to go win a championship in the game of basketball, but you become a championship in the game of life because you have a championship mindset. Now you become a better husband. Now you become a better father, right? Now you become a better mentor to the youth that's coming up because you have a championship mindset. You want to do everything the right way and the best, right? You're not going to take shortcuts. You cannot become a champion by taking shortcuts. You can't become a champion by taking days off. So most important thing is having a championship mindset because if you have a championship mindset, at the end of the day, you will be a champion.
Well, Coach, I tell you one thing, it's just so pitiful I don't have any more eligibility left because I think what I'm listening to is a great recruiting message that you can share with your team and the recruits that you go after. In your mind, what is your first 90 days going to look like as you get started?
Well, obviously, I'm from here. This home. So, obviously, from the door, reacclimate myself with everybody I know, getting them involved in the fold, right? Hey, this is what we want you supporting. We want you here. Got people that supporting, people that wasn't, that just support me. We all support one cause. On campus, obviously, just getting to know, put my hands on everybody, understanding that, getting the recruiting calendar together, understanding what's important with the guys I have coming back, making sure that I'm getting them, I'm touching them, and understanding. My staff is most important, which that is developing. They're coming in, in a few days or a month or two. Like all that's in place. But the most important thing is just putting a plan together and understanding where we're going to be, who we want, how we want to pursue it, right? We want to make sure everything's in place as far as what we want to do for kids. Cost of attendance is big, right? Giving them the experience of not the basketball part, just the experience of school. And that's one thing I can say when I went to college. The basketball was great. But my experience at the university is something I cherish for the rest of my life. I actually had fun going to that program, going to that school. So I want that to be the same thing at Jackson State. Not only are we going to win basketball, be a championship team and have a championship mindset, but when those guys leave the program and go professional or go work at a job with that same mindset, they're always going to come back and support because of their experience, right? They ain't just come and I'm just going to play basketball, but I really don't mess with the coach or the school. You'll never see those guys again. So you always want to get those guys a great experience. So the first 90 days, to answer your question, is just developing that championship mindset through everything under the sun of the experience of being a Jack State athlete, student athlete, just making sure everything in place, making sure we got the right academic support, making sure we understanding that these kids need to make sure they graduate, right? So all these things that we're putting up, my first 90 days is making sure I understand every single aspect of what the well-being of my athlete, what they're going to endure, what they're going to incur when they on campus over their time, their 3 to 4 to 5 years with me.
Well, that's been great. Our second quarter is almost up. What I'd like for you to do, is there any words that you might want to share to the I Love Nation on what they can prepare for?
Absolutely. You know, I'm excited to be here, but at the same time, we always need your support. You know, obviously, any support will help. I don't care if it's a penny. I don't care if it's a million. We can make it do what it do, and we always value the support. I'm from Jackson. I've been a supporter of Jackson State, you know, all my career. I've done things for them, donated things to them. Always been a fan because obviously my family came up there, so I'm a supporter of Jackson State. By me being the head coach there, you know, it was the best day of my life, one of the best days of my life. It's a dream job. I plan on being here for a long time, so I want the support to come in so we can keep this thing rolling and give these kids the greatest experience that they can always have.
Well, thanks so much for being our first guest. And today's show is sponsored by EarthBlendCoffee.Global. Use the link in the description box to place your order now. We'll be right back.
SGECOVIDsolutions.com is paving the way forward for a safer city government, delivering cutting-edge biosecurity and biosafety protocols developed internationally by top virologists and scientists using an all-natural cleaning solution, killing COVID-19 on contact like no other product on the international market. For more information, please call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDsolutions.com. Let SGECOVIDsolutions.com provide innovative rapid facilities testing and world-class state-of-the-art biorisk safety protocols for all of your coronavirus needs. Call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDsolutions.com.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe.Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at WeBelieve.Global.
Welcome back from the break. Our second guest is A.D. Ashley Robinson from Jackson State University. Welcome to our show, Ashley.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
One thing that I would like to just share with our viewers is Ashley needs to be congratulated for being one of the individuals named as AD of the Year by NACDA. Mm-hmm. That's a well-deserved honor. I've worked with you for a number of years, and I just want to publicly congratulate you on that. And just tell me how you feel about being recognized that way.
You know, first I want to say thank you, and it's a big accomplishment. This is not my award, it's our award. You know, Jackson State University, this goes to the leadership of President Hudson, it goes to my coaches, my administrators, my student athletes. You know, I couldn't make these accomplishments without them. So, you know, I want to say thank you to them for believing in the vision that I have for Jackson State University athletics, but also, you know, assisting and coming together as one to make sure that we take Jackson State University to the next level. And this award is big. I think it's not only big for me, but it's big for Jackson State University. And I cannot do it without my staff, my coaches, my student athletes, my passionate alumni, the city of Jackson, the state of Mississippi. And I want to tell everyone thank you for their support and supporting us and making sure that we continue to grow and take Jackson State to the next level and build on the tradition and blaze new trails at Jackson State University.
Well, from a personal note, I know how hard you work, and you deserve that recognition. And I think the thing that young people need to take a look at and see that it's not easy.
Right.
But you can have fun doing it. And that's one thing that I know you do, and I've had a chance to be around your staff, and it's easier when you're having fun.
Right.
You know, so why don't you talk about your staff a little bit and just kind of give us a little insight of your staff.
You know, I'm going to echo what you said earlier about having fun. You know, it's not one morning that I get up and I love going to work. I love what I do. I love seeing smiles on my staff face. I love seeing smiles on our student athletes' face. And for us, you know, for my staff and my coaches, you know, it's all about, you know, those student athletes and that great experience. And of course, you have to have good administrators. You have to have good coaches. And my administrators under my watch, you know, our goal is to support our coaches and our student athletes and give them what they need to be successful. You know, my assistant vice president, Elise Wells Gilbert, she runs my day-to-day. I mean, she handles all my day-to-day day-to-day operations, along with my associate ADs, which I have 3 of those. Hakeem McCullen, which oversee compliance and academics, Dr. Stott, which does internal and external operations, and then Dwayne Lewis, who's over PR and sports media. And those are my executive staff, along with a host of directors that they have, to make sure that the day-to-day process works. Strength and conditioning, sports medicine, your equipment managers, all those areas, nutrition, all those areas are very, very important in being successful when you're talking about the day-to-day and support of the student athlete and the welfare of the student athlete. And staffing is important. Yeah. You have to have a great administration. You have to have a great team. You can't do the things that you need to do for your coaches and your student athletes to be successful. So for us, our theme is building on tradition and blazing new trails. And, we want to bring structure. We want to bring organization. We want to have great policies and procedures in place, but we want to have things in place to support our coaches and our student athletes to help them be successful. And our goal is to graduate our student athletes and also to win championships. And that's what we want to do. And we want to make sure that they have the best experience. I feel like college should be your best experience. The best 4 years of my life was college. And we want to make sure those students have the great experience. And not only our student athletes, all our students, create that atmosphere, coming to the games and supporting our student athletes and creating a great atmosphere and building enrollment for Jackson State University. So that's what it's all about. I think it's all about a team and coming together. And you got to have great people and great staff around you. And start, in athletics is very big when you have a president that really supports athletics. I mean, anybody that's been in this role, A.D. Horne, you've been in this role, and I say it A.D. Horne because he's definitely an A.D. and you've done some great things. You've been in this role, and you have a president that really supports you. That's big. That's really, really big. And we have great leadership at Jackson State. President Hudson really values not only athletics, but he values the whole campus. And he understands Jackson State University. He's a native son from Jackson, so he understands that. And then having great administrators around you and knowing that the goal is to support our coaches and our student athletes. And then having great coaches. I'm a little different. I like aggressive coaches. I feel like if you're a quiet coach, you're not going to be successful. I like the fiery, aggressive coaches because, in this generation, you got to have energy, with these kids. So, all my coaches, a lot of ADs and a lot of people are afraid of that. But, I accept the challenge. I like that. They push me, we push them. And it's not all about, the managing piece and everybody wants to manage. It's all about working together. When you're building a program, you have to work together. One of my mentors from Arkansas, Hunter Utachek, he always tell me we're servants. We're servants for our coaches and our student athletes. And if you don't have that type of attitude, you won't be successful in this business. And I tell people that all the time. When your coaches are successful and your student athletes are successful, the institution is successful. Jackson State is successful. Jackson State is on the national stage. So for me, my goal is coming in here and then coming back home. Bringing the experience back home. When you turn the TV on, I want to see Jackson State University. When you turn the radio on, I want to hear about Jackson State University. And when you definitely open that Clarion Ledger, if you're from Jackson newspaper, I want to see Jackson State University. And that's the goal. And we're definitely headed in that direction. But it's exciting. It's exciting to see the things that we've done. It's exciting to see what we've done since 2018. And I have great administrators. And you're talking about staff. I mean, you can't do the job of AD. I tell people, if you're AD and you're in the office and you're doing day-to-day stuff all day, I mean, you can't support your program. You're struggling. You got to have a good staff because you got to get out and you got to be doing some networking. You got to be meeting with sponsors. You got to be helping raising money. I just hired Mo Williams. He got a list of stuff that he wants. So I have to go out and support that and give him what he needs to be successful.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a little people because I wanted to bring in your high school time. Mo talked about a little bit.
Right.
I've known you for a while.
Right.
So when you talk about the fiery side, we're gonna go from Merle to Valley. Then we're gonna come back to Jackson State.
Right.
So tell me about your time at Merle.
My time at Merle, I had a really good story at Merle. Coming in my 9th grade year, played at Merle, and I come back my 10th grade year and I get cut. I'm told I'm too short to play, he had, another point guard before me, but, that really motivated me. And I had parents to push me. I didn't have my mom and dad and say, oh, I'm about to call the coach. And I'm sitting there to see what's going on. My mom looked me in the eye. My dad, look, son, you got to work. If you got to show people who you are. Height don't mean anything. And that was one of my first first things as a person, you know, growing up 19th grade, and you know, everyone looks at you and you the littlest man, you know, even happened in junior high, you the littlest man out there, and it's like, no way. You know, so that 10th grade, I worked really, really hard. I came back my 11th grade year and made the team. Didn't start but played. And to be honest, I really only played one full year of high school basketball. And came my 12th grade year, and I mean, you know, played 40 minutes, knocked it out the box, and you know, it was those work ethics that's really saying, and from those players from 11th grade to 12th grade, it only was a couple that got D1 offers. You know, most of those players that was before me, they either went, you know, NAIA or they went junior college. And, you know, I was able to have a career at when someone told me, hey, there's no way that you ever play basketball on the next level. You know, and then in that 12th grade, you know, we was probably 22-5, 22-6. Didn't win a championship that year, and you know, we in the 12th grade, and you know, we got this little joker from the 9th grade, Mo Williams, come up. Everybody talking about Maurice Williams, and I saw him play one time, and I was a leader, and you know, he was on the 9th grade team, and I begged our coach. You know, coach put him on our team. I want to say maybe second half of the season. And if Mo would have been on that team from the beginning, we probably would have won a championship that year, because we was one guard down. And by the time he got in and got the chemistry, I think we lost to Runner Dupree. At the time, I think it was who did he play for down on the coast here? I'll never forget. It was District. We played them at Forest Hill, and Mo came in and gave us a big spark. And if he would have played that whole year, there's no doubt we'd have won a championship. And you come back, you know, years after that, and you see the things that he's done and the type of player that he was. I mean, you know, you're talking about one of those guards. Not only, you know, you look at young talent, but you know, Mo was a smart basketball player. I mean, he knew basketball. He everything about him, just his instinct of what he was doing. He's always at the right place at the right time. He know how to put you in position. You know, he just did everything right. And when you saw him in 9th grade, you know, like we got to have him on our team. We definitely got to have him. So, you know, playing with him, and we grew together, and we became best friends, and we started from 9th grade, and I went on to Valley, and you know, another story about us, you know, he went to Alabama, and I went to Valley. His freshman year, we had an opportunity to play in the Garden Classic together. Came down, and my teammate D. Jamel Jackson and our coach got into the class, and we was able to play against each other, and I'll never forget those times. Those were great times that we had, you know, and we was able to fellowship, and it's good to always play against your high school teammate. But, you know, we've been close ever since, and we've stayed in contact, and Mo has always been that smart point guard. You knew he was going to be a coach. You just knew he was going to be a great basketball player. He always had a chip on his shoulder. But, you know, one thing that, you know, a lot of these young kids, you know, everybody wants to go to the NBA. You know, everybody wants to graduate and make $100,000, but everybody don't want to get up 4 or 5 in the morning and do what they got to do to get there. You know, I saw Mo Williams get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, work out, play ball, go to class, get out of school, work out, play ball. I saw him do it every single day. I mean, I saw it. I mean, nobody told me. I mean, we saw it, and we knew then he was going to the NBA. We knew in high school. I knew in 10th, 11th grade that he was going to be that type of player, and a great attitude. I mean, he had a great, good person to be around, and you just knew that, you know, that he definitely was going, you know, things was going to happen, and it was a journey for him, you know.
But and one thing, because we're getting ready to close out this third quarter, but the reason I bring that up, because people need to know why you have that spark you have as well. That's, you know, we've known each other for a while. That's the first time you told me that story about high school basketball. But you played for Coach Cribb.
Coach Cribb,
at Valley. How was that experience?
Great experience. You know, great experience. I get there as a freshman, and you know, I always had a chip on my shoulder. Whether, you know, I get there, I always got to prove myself. I mean, every day in practice, every game I go to, I always got to prove myself. And anybody know me, you know, when we start the game, you know, I'm gonna tell you, hey, it's gonna be a long day today. It's gonna be a long day, and people look at me, oh man, it's a little 4 feet. What he's gonna do? But you know, I left Valley. career assist leader in the Hall of Fame. You know, had an opportunity to go overseas. I didn't stay there but 30 days, but I went. So but it was a great experience for me. You know, I worked very hard. Coach Strip really pushed me. You know, and you know, we played some good basketball. And I always had a chip on my shoulder. I have a chip on my shoulder now. I mean, I keep that because, you know, I'm big when people tell you can't do something. You know, I got here in 2018 and people told me there's no way you'll turn Jackson State University around. There's no way that you'll bring football back at Jackson State. There's no way you'll win championships at Jackson State. You know, it's just no way. You know, and I take on those challenges. And I love when people tell me I can't do something. I strive on that. I stay up all night and work hard just to show you that this is going to happen. You know, so, you know, even with the award today, you know, I'm sitting in my office after we get out of the cabinet, and I comes across my email, and it's like, this is an award that I look at every year, and you know, none of our names are never on there. You know, you're talking about our conference, you know, you never, you know, you just award that you hope for. And, you know, and you see your mentor on top, you know, you see Hunter on there, you know, FBS, and then you go down to CDF there, and you're like, hold on, is this right? And I'm clicking on it, and I'm like, oh wow. And, you know, so it really shows, man, when you work hard and you just stay positive, and you do the right things, you know, and you got to have that drive. And I tell young people all the time, you know, man, stay positive and continue to work hard and be loyal. You know, we're not loyal to our superiors, and we're not loyal to our institutions. We're not loyal to our leaders. You know, and I think that's big. And a lot of young people get off track when they're trying to, you know, build their careers. And you know, through my whole career, it's not one boss can ever say that I was unloyal to them. There's not one boss that would ever say, you know, if they told me to do something, I did it. Even if I didn't want to do it, I did it.
Well, we're heading into the break. Today's show is sponsored by EarthBlendCoffee.global. Use the link in the description box to place your order now. We'll be right back.
New Cannabis Premium Dispensary is providing community health and wellness through CBD and Delta-8. Both CBD and Delta-8 provide an array of health benefits, aiding in appetite, sleep, anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and more. New Cannabis Premium Dispensary provides a variety of CBD and Delta-8 products, including gummies, candies, pre-rolls, pain creams, isolate drops, cartridge pens, and so much more. To learn more about New Cannabis products or to place an order, please call or text 415-465-9292 or visit us online at newcannabis.com and follow us on Instagram at newcannabisjackson.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter, and we're going to close it out visiting with A.D. Robinson. One thing that we were talking about your relationship with Coach Scribbling and how that has transitioned you into what you do. I've known you for a while,
right?
And I keep learning things as we move forward, but I appreciate your passion. And I think the thing that, if you don't mind telling that story, when I first met you and I came down to Valley, you can't use all the words I use, but try and paraphrase it.
You know, I started in the administration. I think this was maybe 2000, maybe 6 and 7. I think Coach, I never forget, Coach James Green was the head basketball coach, and I was working in compliance, and young guy, I probably was 23, 24 years old, and we had they had put me over game day events, and I didn't know anything about game day events, so we getting ready to do game day events, and I called Mr. Horne, and he was at Ole Miss at the time, and I said, hey, he was teammates with James Green. I said, come down, and I want you to kind of, you know, look at my operation, kind of tell me, you know, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and you know, I'm trying to do hospitality and refreshments, and you know, he basically came down and told me, like, this ain't gonna work. I mean, you got to do better, man. So he gave me a long list, and we started a great relationship. But I took that, and I took everything that he gave me. I never forget, he shot me an email the next day and explained gave me a checklist of everything. And that was my first learning lesson, is being in administration, athletics. And one thing he can tell you, I accepted it and I listened. And when we started a relationship then, and that was, you know, 2005, 2006, and and we built on that, and we improved our game day environment and improved our courtside seating, and we did receptions for our courtside seating. He showed me a lot of things on how to operate, operational piece, and I thanked him. I always thanked him for that, and that was the first time we met, and I think from that day on, I mean, we stayed in contact and bounced stuff off each other. But that's the type of brotherhood, and that's the type of things that we as athletic administrators, and when you have young people that really want to get into business, the number one thing I want to tell people that want to they's young and want to be in administration, you got to accept constructive criticism, because I mean, Derek came in and told me everything that I had. I mean, he like, look, man, this is terrible. You can't do this. And I'm looking at him like, hey, this is all I got to work with. He's like, this ain't gonna work, So, and then he sent me a follow with an email. But I was very appreciative, and it really helped me grow. And that was, that's how we met. And from that day on, I mean, we continued to stay in contact. And, he was at Ole Miss at the time, and we followed up probably every other week, if not every week. And he really helped me, when it came to starting my career in athletic administration.
Well, I think the thing that you've always had is that desire to do better, desire to make sure that you can be successful. And Coach Williams and I was talking about it earlier. He said he even feels that as he's coming in and transitioning in. And I think when your staff can be that way, when everybody from the AD down to the secretary that answers everybody's call has the same mindset, you'll be successful. And I've seen that change. I've been in this state since 1982. And to take a look at the leadership at Jackson State and to see right now, you hit it right on the head. You and President Hudson are Jackson born and Jackson bred. So you understand what Jackson needs. And that's what's, I think, to me, that's what's key. And you keep that synergy along with some of the other pieces that you're bringing in is going to remain successful. Now, one question I used to get a lot, and I want to hear from your perspective. A lot of people don't really understand the differences in those budgets between the FCS and the FBS, and then also how hard it is for an AD and the FCS to be successful. So maybe take a few minutes just to kind of break that down and kind of share that with them.
Well, it's a your FBS football bowl subdivision, and it is what it is when they say bowl subdivision. I mean, you win 6 or 7 games and you get invited to a bowl, and you'll be able to tap into some resources that the FCS cannot tap into. You're talking about the conferences. You're talking about a distribution from a SEC is 40, 50 million, and you're talking about a distribution from a FCS. It's not even 80% of that. But the difference piece is it's a big revenue driven. FBS is a big revenue. I mean, you're talking about from ticket sales. You're talking about from not just football, from basketball and baseball. You look at it, it's a big difference. And then people look at it. I tell people, I make this joke all the time. You have a lot of people that transition from FBS schools to FCS schools, and they'll come in and say, "Oh man, I raised so much money, man." I said, "Come on over here." And you're going to work to raise this money. It's going to be 7 days a week. You're going to have to really work hard to sell your program and build your program. And you got to bring some structure and organization, because people want to see that before they give. They want to see your alumni base. They want to see what your attendance is. They want to see your website. They want to see what your paradeal is. They want to come to practice and see how your team, your coaches are performing, how they practice, and how you run your program. What kind of structure? Do you follow up? Do you email? Do you follow up on emails? Do you respond? But I challenge. I tell people that all the time. It's easy. You can sit at a desk and raise money at the FBS school, but you sit at a desk at the FCS school and you just watch.
You ain't working long.
You're not at all. So it's a totally different ball game. But I love the challenge. These last 2 years has been really, really good. When you're talking about sitting down, meeting with sponsors, and people really want to support. And I always told people, now's the time. Now is the time. And one thing about A.D. Robinson is nobody gonna ever say that he didn't ask. There's nobody gonna never say that he wasn't aggressive. If it didn't work out, it's just because you just didn't want it to give at the particular time. But we get these calls about, well, nobody asks, nobody can, and I make sure that I always ask. I make sure that I'm always in the room, and I try to build relationships. And sometimes it's not all about, revenue. Sometimes it's all about, in kind. It's all about building relationships for later on. It's all about having them resources for your coaches and your student athletes. And this could be some things that could really help your program moving forward. So everything is not all about how much money you can give. It's all about sometimes building those relationships and having good names and being good stewards in the city. And also, having coaches that really understand that piece. I tell all my coaches, you're not only a coach, you're a CFO. When I hire you to coach your particular sport, only thing I'm doing is supporting you and giving you what you need. I'm not running no plays. I'm not doing no recruiting. I'm not hiring no staff for you. I'm
not choosing uniforms.
I'm not doing any of that. The only thing I'm doing is supporting you and giving you what you need to be successful. And I think that's some of the things that we have to change. A lot of people come in and we like to, I talked about this earlier, but, we like to manage. We like to micromanage. We like to be in control. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work in athletics. You have to build relationships. It's just like a student athlete. You can't holler at that student athlete if you don't build a relationship for him. If you come in the door and the first thing you're doing is, it's just like training your child, and raising your child. You have to build relationships with people. And, of course, you're going to have days that, hey, it's going to be some tough times. I need this, we want this. But it's ways of doing that. And I'm all about, supporting our coaches and building relationships. I've always been a fan of building a relationship with my head coaches because I always want them to feel comfortable when things are not so good. It's easy when things are going well. You're winning championships.
And what I wanted to do, because we're getting close to the end of this fourth quarter, you have you have a number of great programs. Your baseball coach has done an awesome job for years. Right. But the most recent has been your women's basketball coach and your football coach. Right. How is it to manage them, and then what are their drivers for success?
You talking about coaches that everything they do, they want to be perfect in. They want to be perfect. Coach Reed, Coach Prime, very aggressive, and you can tell why they're successful. It starts at 5 or 6 every morning and ends at 9 or 10 at night, and they're aggressive every day. They're fighting for their program. They're fighting for their student athletes. They're out here recruiting. They're really putting in the work. They're in the gym. They're watching film. They're breaking it down. They're meeting with their kids. And if you see their day-to-day operation, I tell people all the time, come sit down and just look at what they do every single day. And then you're talking about, besides that, great character, great integrity, just great individuals, and very, very aggressive. They're very aggressive, and it shows on the court. It shows in their coaching. It shows, I tell people this all the time. Great coaches make adjustments. I judge you on what's going to happen after halftime when they figure you out. What's going to happen when you play 10 games and you're successful and everybody watching film? Are you going to run the same play you've been running all year? Or are you going to make some adjustments? And I got coaches that make adjustments. All 16 sports. We're looking at our success that we have. We got coaches that really make adjustments. They know how to make in-game changes. You got some coaches, and I'm gonna play the 2-3 zone, whether I'm winning by 20 or losing by 20. You come out. We might play man one day, zone the next day, and then look out, man, we playing a 1-3-1. Oh, we playing a matchup, and that's how you got good coaches, when they can make adjustments and when they plan and they watch film for that particular game. I want to see something different every game. We want to be consistent in winning, but we got to be consistent in putting in the work. And I can't say enough about all of my coaches, but you see the success of Coach Prime and Coach Reed. A story about Coach Reed. I know we're wrapping up, but the last time Jackson State was successful in women's basketball, Coach Reed was the assistant coach in 2007. A lot of people don't know that story, but we hadn't won since 2007. She was the assistant coach then, and she came back here, and she's done great things, and I just love to see her work. I love to see her interact with her staff. I love her attitude. I love her relationship with her kids, and she fights for her program. She fights for her student athletes, and she want to make sure that they get the best experience, and that's what it's about. When you got a coach, I tell my coaches all the time, if you quiet, you're not asking me for anything, I'm starting to worry about you. I'm really starting to worry about you, because you got to be aggressive. You want your kids to be aggressive, you got to be aggressive. So, I can't say enough about Coach Reed. And again, born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. Again, went to one of the best high schools in Jackson, Murrah High School. So, which is only one high school in Jackson, but very excited about that.
Yeah.
Very excited about all our programs, are really doing well, and I want to thank our coach for that as well.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the show. I want to thank Coach Williams. I also want to thank A.D. Robinson. We're excited and we're looking forward to seeing you on the next show. Welcome to Sound the Horn Sports Show. I'm so excited to host this groundbreaking program that will broaden the Jackson sports scene's awareness regionally and nationally. My goal is to highlight sports in Jackson, the state of Mississippi, and nationally by utilizing my 25 years of Division I athletic administration knowledge, and my guests will be experienced leaders in sports. The guests on the show will share a behind-the-scenes, unique, and informative glance of the world of sports. Please join me every Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WeBelieveDigital.com. Welcome to Sound the Horn Sports Show. I'm so excited to host this groundbreaking program that will broaden the Jackson sports scene's awareness regionally and nationally. My goal is to highlight sports in Jackson, the state of Mississippi, and nationally by utilizing my 25 years of Division I athletic administration knowledge, and my guests will be experienced leaders in sports. The guests on the show will share a behind-the-scenes, unique, and informative glance of the world of sports. Please join me every Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WeBelieveDigital.com. Welcome to Sound the Horn. My name is Derek Horn, and if you would, please welcome to the show our special guest, Assistant AD at Jackson State and radio personality, Rob J.
Assistant AD.
Assistant AD. That comes with a whole lot of work, don't it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you, Derek, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.
Well, you know, I've been in the state for a long time and seen what you've done and what you do, and so excited to have you here today. And we're just going to have a conversation, as we talked about before, and maybe get to know a little bit more about you,
yes,
but also to just share some things, great things that are going on at Jackson State. So if you would, with our guests, just share a little bit about your hometown and where you grew up and, you know, all those little things that a lot of people don't know.
Well, I grew up in Jackson, went through Jackson Public School System, went to Lanier High School, tried to play baseball a little bit, wasn't very good. I'll tell you, I met a Negro League player. He recently passed away, Buck O'Neal.
Buck O'Neal,
and I told him, he said, "Did you play baseball?" He said, "You tall?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, but I kept getting cut. He said, "You couldn't hit the fastball." And he was right. I said, "Mr. O'Neal, I couldn't hit the curveball, fastball." But anyway, I went to Lanier and went on to Jackson State. At that time, I thought you were supposed to go to Jackson State. See, my whole family went to Jackson State, and I thought you go from Lanier to Jackson State. And my mother, you know, she said, "That's where you go. You gonna go to Jackson State?" I said, "Okay." So I went to Jackson State. I majored in art. That was my major, but I changed it to mass communications, and I started working at the radio station on Jackson State's campus, and ended up working at a radio station in Jackson. At that time, it was WOKJ, WJMI. It was right down the street from Jackson State. So I would go work there, and then I applied for a job. Actually, what happened, how I got into television, I was on campus. I was clowning around on campus, and then this instructor, he called me in his office. I was like, "Oh man, I thought they were gonna throw me out of school or something." So he told me to read some sports copy, and he called Channel 16, and he said, "I want you to go to Channel 16, and there's an opening. I want you to apply for this job. It's a weekend sports job." I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to do it." He said, "No, you read really well, so go to Channel." I said, "Where's that at?" Derek, I didn't like the news. At that time, I hated the news. I thought it was boring. My grandmother used to sit up and watch the news all the time. I hated it. So I didn't even know you could go to a TV station. I went to Channel 16, and I did the audition. I didn't get the job. So I started watching the news to see who had the job at Channel 16. And when I saw who had it, I was like, "Oh, I can do better than that. I know I can do better than him." And that's when I started working on it. And I said, if I ever get that chance again, I'm going to be ready for it. So I eventually started working at Channel 12 in production, running cameras and all that. So that's when I came in here. I saw your cameras. I was like, "Hey, these are nice." So yeah, so I just got to, I just like production and stuff like that. So eventually worked my way up to Channel 3.
Well, I like to hear stories, because so many times there's somebody that helps us. When we don't think they're watching. And I try to tell young people, you never know who's watching, and you don't need to have a challenge where you don't have an opportunity to succeed. So that was a great part of a story that I think that a lot of people need to hear. But tell me a little bit about this. What are some of your great memories that you can tell live while you were a student at Jackson State?
Let's see. While I was a student, I worked at I worked at the campus radio station, 88.5 FM, and they played jazz. It's a jazz station, and they played a little blues and played gospel on Sunday. And when we were coming up, we didn't really like jazz, and we wanted to play, all the Rick James and stuff like that, Michael Jackson, all that kind of stuff. So the station went off the air at midnight. And me and some guys said, "Hey man," because I knew how to turn it. The one that had the midnight shift had to turn the station off, and the security guard walk him out. So I said, "Man, what we gonna do at 2:00 in the morning? We gonna go back to the station and play some Rick James and all of this." So I had at that time the albums. So and I had the key to the building because they trusted me. I was one of the main DJs. So I was like this, and I had another guy, and I said, "Hey man, you gonna play these songs?" So at 2:00 we were playing Rick James and Michael Jackson and all of this, and after we did it for about 15 minutes. So I had this guy call the guy that did the DJ. I told him, I said, "Man, call that guy and pretend like you the FCC and then he going to jail." So we just that was something wrong that we did, man. We opened up that station to play all that mess. I look back at it, I was like, man, we shouldn't have done that. We should. And the program director, she was so mad. Her name was Pat Murray, rest her soul, and she because my legal name is Robert Jewett. Yeah. So she said, "Jewett, I'm going to suspend you, and I'm going to suspend him and him for you guys doing that." I was like, man, what would I tell my mom? So, yeah, that was one of the things I remember the most.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you pronounced your name because I saw it, and I said, I'm not going to try and butcher it on the air. But, while you were in school as a student, what were some of some of the teams, what were some of the most memorable times that you had maybe going to an athletic event or some of the athletes that were there when you were in school?
It was definitely football because at that time, I was there from 80 to 84. And Jackson State didn't lose a game in the conference at that time. Coach W.C. Gordon was the coach. And as a matter of fact, he was the first person I ever interviewed when I was getting into this business as a student. And he was so accommodating, man. He was very accommodating. But it was the football team. It was let me see, who was the quarterback then? At that time, I think it was John McKenzie. And you had Jimmy Smith was a wide receiver who went on to the NFL. You had
was Chris Burkett out there too?
Burkett was there, Burkett. As a matter of fact, Burkett was my classmate, and he calls all the time talking about how I copied off his paper. But yeah, man, Burkett was a receiver. You're exactly right, and I guess I got spoiled because I thought that was the way it was supposed to be all the time. Because I thought, because Jackson State, I don't think they lost a SWAT game the whole time I was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like I said, I was just getting started. They were good, and I like I said, I got spoiled. I thought that was the way it was supposed to be. They had a good defense, good offense. Coach Carson was the defensive coordinator. Houston Markham was the coach, and all these guys went off to be head coaches in other places. So that's the thing. What I remember the most about was the Jackson State and the baseball team. Yeah, with Coach Bob Bradley.
Yeah, Coach Bradley.
They were always winning. So the basketball team wasn't so much. But I remember my instructor bringing me over to a basketball game, and he had a tape recorder, and we announced the game, and he showed me how to do it. Okay. And I really, man, I really owe him that for what I'm doing now, because I don't think our students get that kind of opportunity now. So while I'm at Jackson State, I do give the kids a chance to get on the radio with me. So I take that from that instructor.
And a lot of people, we know you in Jackson, and we have some people from across the country that might be listening. So just kind of tell a little bit about some of the things that you've done as it relates to games that you've called or some of the TV programs you might have produced.
Yeah, I worked with this company called Black College Sports, where I covered all of the 3 black colleges in Mississippi. My responsibility was to cover Alcorn, Valley, and Jackson State for Black College Sports, and that was on it was on BET at that time. BET had a show, a Black College football show. So I did that, and I really enjoyed doing that. That's when was Steve McNair at Alcorn at that time? I know Fred was a quarterback, but. So that was my responsibility covering them, and I also I did consultant work for ESPN for games for black college games. Now recently, I just did a game on the NFL Network and ESPNU. It was the inaugural black college that inaugural All-Star game with all of the black colleges, and I did that game with Fred McNair. We did it together. Okay. So that was something that was really, really nice to do. So I've covered people like Shaquille O'Neal. I covered. I never covered Michael Jordan, but I covered Warren Moon and all these different guys, man. And Warren Moon wasn't too friendly. He wasn't too friendly. But it's been good covering, of course, covering the Saints. Yeah. I never covered a Super Bowl because I would let the guys at the station cover it. Because the reason I didn't really want to cover Super Bowl, because if you're a local station, you don't see the game. I mean, you have to be in a holding area watching it, So I just let the other guys deal with that headache. I didn't like hassle and headaches and all that. And I covered the College World Series. I enjoyed doing that. So it's been a lot to do.
Well, one thing that I think a lot of people might have seen you in and didn't realize, they thought you might have been an Oscar-nominated actor. You had a role in A Time to Kill.
Oh my goodness!
And if you can kind of tell us about how that came about and the experience you had.
Let me tell you about that. When that movie A Time to Kill came, they filmed it in Canton, and what they did was they sent out these applications for reporters to be in the movie, and they wanted you to fill it out and send a clip of you reporting. So I sent it in, and they said, congratulations, you received this part in the movie. Okay, my part, the only part I said in there was, if you get a conviction, we ask for the gas chamber. That was my part in it. Okay, we went to Canton that morning. It was a Sunday morning. And when we went there, we waited for that scene to come up. So this guy, we were standing around at the Canton courthouse, and the guy was, everybody, all the fake reporters was standing around. So this guy had a book. He said, okay, you say this line, you say this line, and you say this line. Now, when he pointed at the second guy, I was standing there, but Howard Ballou, who works at WWT, he was standing behind me. He gave him the line I was supposed to read. So he said, okay, everybody stand by, places, stand by. I said, wait, hold on. That's my line you gave him. So he said, excuse me? I said, that's my line you gave him. He said, who are you? I said, I'm Rob J. I'm supposed to read that line. So he turned to somebody. He said, who's giving out lines in this movie? And the guy said, you are, sir. He said, now, what is your problem? I said, listen, they FedExed me the script. They told me I was going to read the line. He already read his line. So he said, excuse me for a moment. So they huddled up. So I don't watch movies or nothing. I watch sports. So everybody was like, Rob J, you know who that man is? The man's name was Joel Schumacher. He's a big time movie director. And they were like, they said, Rob J, that man directed this. Somebody said, Rob J, that man directed Batman. Now, I saw Batman. Because I like comic books and stuff. Yeah. So I said, oh, man, that is. So he said, okay, everybody quiet. He said, okay, you can say the line, but be nice about it next time. He said, can we do this scene if it's all right with Rob J? I'm like, oh, man. He said, okay, we're going to do this scene if it's okay with Rob J. So we did the scene, and then he said, okay, now it's time for lunch. Can we go to lunch if it's all right with Rob J? So, man, that was my most embarrassing moment in my life. And I went to him and I apologized, man. So that's how I got that line. And I just knew they were going to cut it out. But it's in there.
No, it's in there. It's in there. And I was not living in the state of Mississippi at that time when that came out. But then I knew you. And it's so amazing how things happen. But I think people need to know a lot of behind the scenes. Now, quickly before we get ready to go to break, I had a question for you. How was it being around Samuel L. Jackson and Charles S. Dutton?
I didn't meet Charles Dutton, but I did meet Samuel Jackson. Oh, he was arrogant. Oh my God. Yes, he was. I don't really like him to this day. He was like, I went up to him and I said, hey, I'm in that movie too. And he said, everybody wants to be in a movie.
Wow.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, mister. So I really haven't been a fan of him since.
Yeah. I think that's something that, and I've been around athletes a lot of times too, and sometimes they have two different personas. What they are on TV is not who they are.
Right.
A lot of times they are truly introverts and have to put a lot of those things to the side as it relates to And I remember playing ball myself. You're a show person.
Mm-hmm.
When you're off the court, you don't want to be bothered. You know, you kind of and I'm truly an introvert. So for me, it puts me in a position a lot of times of just, you know, I'm comfortable in my skin. You know. At this time, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Our sponsors will roll in a few seconds. It's been great being here with Rob J, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfill concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Welcome back to the second quarter. I'm here with Rob J. We had a great first quarter. I learned a lot about Samuel Jackson and Warren Moon. I might not want to meet them.
LeBron James fits in that category too. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
Not King.
King James. You don't know my history with King James?
Oh, no. Please share.
Let me tell you. You know, he came to Jackson a few years ago as part of Mo Williams' basketball team. Mm-hmm. Okay. I had an intern. I was at WLBT. I had an intern from Mississippi Valley. His name is Mike. Mm-hmm. And this guy called me and said, Rob, I want to let you know LeBron James is going to land at the airport at 6:15. I was like, no, I can't. I said, man, I can't be there because I'm on the air.